Hi there, welcome to Tarot Land Soap Opera. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Scorpio energy. The top row is going to be high vibe Scorpio energy, and the bottom row is going to be lower vibe Scorpio energy. And that could just be a battle you have within yourself between, do I take bold, brave, confident action to believe in myself and my dreams? And the bottom row of shadow could be your fears and insecurities. So we'll read it from that perspective, and then we'll also read it between how people could harness their Scorpio energy different. People in high vibe Scorpio are people who've reconciled themselves with the past. They're bold, they're brave, they're confident, they're willing to believe in themselves and their dreams to keep moving forward. And people who could be in shadowy Scorpio energy could be people who are either emotionally shut down, don't like to deal with their emotions, would prefer to live a more emotionally detached life, because our emotions are confusing, right? It's hard. And some people have just given up on dealing with them and ignore them. And they choose to maybe make their life more about money and materialism and status and image as the foundation that they focus on, and maybe hope that if they get in relationships with other people, that those other people that they might be in relationship are more focused on money and materialism and status and image too, instead of love. And they could be like emotionally defensive because they've been hurt before. I will pick up the cards and show them to you in a minute, but when I compare it just between you and yourself, if it's a battle within you, I'm going to leave them on the table. When it's just you believing in yourself, you're in the energy of love and believing in yourself. And when you could get caught up in your mind, it kind of instills fear and insecurity in us, and it makes us kind of want to take a risk to repeat patterns of our past, because we're all tempted to repeat patterns of our past, relationship dynamics, work dynamics, because we know how to do those things and we don't have to step outside of our comfort zone. But repeating patterns of the past, causes you mental conflict, and you want to heal and believe in yourself and believe in your dreams to become more independent within yourself. I guess I can show you it. I'll pick them up and show them to you. So, when you're kind of aligned with your loving nature, you know that repeating patterns of the past and the Five of Swords causes you mental conflict, and you want to heal. And in the Four of Swords and in the Knight of Cups, that's Pisces energy. You want to believe in your dreams and, believe in your unique certain talent, skills, and interests that you have, and believe that you can bring your dreams into reality. And in the Eight of Wands, you want to take that creative, inspired, bold, confident action to look at life as an adventure to be lived. In Nine of Pentacles, to be independent, to be free of your mind, of your fears, of your self-limiting beliefs, or any attachment you might have to other foundations in your life, if that's a work group, a friend group, an original family group, or some other group. We deserve to be independent within every foundation we're in. We deserve to know our own worth and value and feel stable and grounded, and know that we're so much more than what we wear or what we drive or how much money we have, and that we can take responsibility. Oh, I love it. Both the Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups, they can both talk and positive about being independent, knowing your worth and value, knowing how to nurture yourself and love yourself and believe in yourself and encourage yourself every day, so that you're not codependent on other people for validating your worth and value, or for you to feel emotionally stable and like looking to other people like, oh no, I don't know how to love myself, you need to love me, or I don't know my worth and value, you have to validate my worth and value. If there's been a love connection that you've been in, or it could be a family group, a work group, whatever, that you thought was going to be loving, but for some reason you have mental conflict internally in that relationship, you want to take time to heal and move forward and be more independent. But there could be a part of you that thinks that you could be a fool doing that, and you're tempted. The Fool card is Aries energy, which is fire energy, which can be, those things that make us get off the couch and take action. It can be fear, it can be lust, it can be greed, it can be, all the things that can fire us up and get us worked up to make us take action. And in shadowy Scorpio energy, it would be to take a risk to not heal and move forward and believe in ourselves and repeat a pattern of the past. Let's go look at what a pattern of the past would be. It would be to maybe offer love to these foundations in your past and work with them and offer love to that situation and just balance out your emotions about it. But you have mental conflict about being in that relationship. You could have a Capricorn a Capricorn or a foundation offering you a new emotional beginning. They could want to be in some type of relationship with you, but you know that if you were to stay in that foundation, maybe it wouldn't be conducive to you healing, because maybe it just causes more conflict in your life. Or you just know maybe it's not. Maybe you would get into it because of codependency, because the Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups can be about being independent. And if someone is offering you a job or a friend group or a new relationship, or your family keeps wanting you to align with them instead of becoming more independent, you might have love for whoever this is, whatever foundation this is, but you probably already know nothing ever gets healed within it. It's just everybody just trying to balance themselves out, but nobody really reflects on the truth to move forward in life. It's just the same pattern over and over and over. But in order to not go align with that foundation in your life, you would have to be willing to detach from that foundation and no longer cling to it for your sense of stability or security or sense of emotional well-being. You would have to take responsibility for learning how to nurture and value yourself and just be willing to become more independent of that foundation to give birth to a new life. And if our fears about detaching from that foundation win the battle within ourselves, we will return to that foundation. I don't know why a foundation, though, would require that, wouldn't allow you time to just. Some foundations, though, they don't want people to be independent. They don't want people to know their worth and value, because then they can't emotionally manipulate them or control them or be bossy of them. Or, if you knew your own worth and value and were happy within yourself and you make decisions in your life not out of fear or insecurity or pride or ego or lust or greed or selfishness, then they can't play on those strings anymore. And in order to move forward with you, they would have to deal with their own mental conflict and heal from their past pain and heartbreak to be more open and honest and loving and more independent within themselves, so that it truly is a loving relationship that doesn't cause anyone within it to have this mental conflict. Let's go ask what that mental conflict's about. What is the mental conflict about? This foundation or group or whoever it is could be people whose long-term plan for the foundation is to be more materialistically based, more pride and ego based, and you might know that in time you would probably find this staying within this foundation or this job or this relationship or family or whatever would be emotionally unfulfilling and you'd want to walk away. Or you could fear if you went to go get in a relationship that's maybe not based on love, but because people want you to align with them out of their pride, their ego, their whatever, selfishness or greed, that eventually they would maybe walk away. If people are in a relationship because of love and respect and all that, why are they in it? And people can be fickle. If it's not love, it's just like, well, who's got a better offer? Is that a better thing? Whatever. And they'll go somewhere else. But you might feel they're offering you money to work together with them and not really of course down here they're offering love, but maybe if you were to go towards that foundation, you'd be offering more, invested in it, maybe more from a materialistic or worldly reason instead of love, because the people that are down here are offering love, but they could be someone who's offering that love because they don't dare move forward in their life and believe in themselves. So they could be offering love for someone to get in a relationship with them, but it's more kind of out of fear or insecurity or codependency. They could be someone who really wants to cling on to you, and you could know they're very codependent, and so you could make an offer to it and probably it would work out to be very stable and abundant and grounded. But I think eventually some people think they'd find it emotionally unfulfilling. So that's for the people, I think, kind of who could be struggling within themselves. For others of you, you could have been in a relationship with someone who decided they wanted to go make an offer towards someone else who is single. And because of that, they took a risk to not heal things with you and offer love to the situation. And part of the reason they might not have been willing to move forward with you is it would have required that they get more aligned with love and being more independent, and they could be someone who's quite attached to either a foundation in their past, maybe their original family, or connected to living a life a little bit more from pride and ego than love, and making their life more about money and materialism than love being the driving factor in their life. And if there was someone who was single who had a lot of money and materialism, they could have thought that would make them happy to do that. And so, because of that, you're having to heal and believe in yourself and your dreams, and you are taking creative inspired action to know your worth and value, to be happy within yourself, aligning with love, being emotionally brave and strong. You could see the truth that the person you had maybe been in a relationship with was looking more for someone to mother them or indulge them, because some people, if they haven't learned how to love and believe in themselves and like fill their own emotional well, and especially if they're shadowy kind of Scorpio energy where they're kind of emotionally shut down, they want to be in relationships with other people who will maybe indulge them being that way. And it's kind of like, you offer me the emotional things and I'll focus on life being about death, sex, and taxes. And or they were someone who is emotionally attached to repeating patterns of the past. That's just how they view life. Things have to be the way that they grew up thinking things are. They don't, maybe aren't bold and brave enough to detach from old ways of being or old foundations in their life and being independent of it, to believe in their dreams and see all the emotional possibilities of not living their life more from pride and ego and making it about love. So they maybe weren't willing to move forward with you. So out of self-love, you're having to, face your fears and put an end to your any fears and insecurities that you have. And you're going within to gain insight and understanding about why some people aren't bold and brave enough to be open and vulnerable and authentic in life, and why they do kind of create illusions in relationships. And when the people they're in relationships have healed from some of their past pain and heartbreak, that they've become more independent and they want their partner to get over some of their fears and insecurities and quit making their life so much about either past foundations, just being willing to learn and grow themselves, why those people backstab and betray it, you know? And you're gaining insight about all of that, emotionally nurturing yourself and taking the lesson that you're meant to learn, because we come in contact with all these different people in the world to find out what their truth is versus what our truth is. Some people are like, nope, I don't ever want to change. Nope, I want to do things the way I've always done it. Nope, I want to be emotionally defensive in my life. I'm defensive to being emotionally vulnerable and authentic and loving in a relationship. No, I think it's more important to focus on money and materialism than love. That's like, you know, secondary or way down the line. And it's all just for us to learn, get more clear about what our truth is, and are we willing to keep believing in our truth, or are we going to get caught up in our fears and insecurities and illusions of the world that we give up on our truth? And I think within your foundation, you are taking bold creative action to keep believing in your dreams. And if there was someone in your life that you thought you were going to have a dream or a job that was going to be your dream thing, and it turned out it wasn't, it's just to try to learn the lessons that we were meant to learn from it. No experience in our life has to be a wasted experience if we take lessons from it, that we can make our foundation stronger and less naive and more enlightened than it was before. And some of you could be here being independent and happy. You could have someone from your past communicating with you. Some of those people could have taken a risk to go get in a relationship with someone else, and they felt left out in the cold from love. And those loving people are moving forward and closing out the cycle with this person to give birth to a new life. And because you kept moving forward and this person repeated patterns of the past, they could be confused about how you put work and effort within yourself to like boss up and find balance within yourself and to nurture and love yourself, when they could be someone who's really caught up a lot in either their fear, their insecurities, their codependency on the world, And they could wonder how you do what you do. They might think that they'll present themselves as loving and communicate with you, and you're kind of standing in your inner child nature of truth because you want relationships based on love with people who have tempered their prideful, fearful, insecure, selfish, greedy, bossy, controlling nature. People who are emotionally brave and strong and listen to their intuition. And if this person communicates to you, you are going to listen to your intuition about someone who you know maybe keeps a lot of things hidden beneath the surface of their emotions, and they create illusion in relationship. They could present themselves in the King of Cups like they're a loving family person, but that's just kind of an illusion. They could be very defensive, and they could be very mentally defensive to either believing in their own dreams because they maybe don't believe in love and don't trust people. They maybe could be very defensive to this worldly view of life, of thinking that life's just about life and relationships and everything we do is to make us look like a shining star in the world. It's all about creating this illusion about how successful we are. But if people aren't willing to think outside the box and have hope and faith and belief, especially in love relationships, and they're defensive, you know, that dream can't come into reality unless you're willing to indulge someone being that way in a relationship. But who wants to be in a relationship with someone who's in shadowy Scorpio energy, who's maybe emotionally shallow and defensive and mentally defensive, to having hope and faith and belief? Well, if they think that way, they could think you think that way. And if they're in the relationship just for money and image and status and materialism, then they think that's why you're in the relationship. And then they become defensive to you because they don't really think you're in the relationship for love, because they know they're defensive to being in the relationship for love. You know, everything they fear, they project onto you as being part of your character, even though it's maybe not. So you're going to listen to your intuition about this person, and you might put an end to having a new beginning with this person and just keep moving forward with your own long-term plan, listening to your intuition. That's if they're in shadowy energy. If they do come up here and they're in high vibe energy because they have learned some lessons about having repeated a pattern of a past, aligning with the foundation of their past, if that's their original family they didn't want to become more independent of, or they went and got in a different relationship because they had illusions about that person and they ended up having mental conflict about it, and they gave up the idea of that being their truth, and they've reflected on the past and healed from their past pain and heartbreak, and they have tapped into their emotions and their intuition to guide them, and they now believe in their dreams. They would have to become this first more independent, emotionally self-sovereign before, and aligned with love before they ever even come talk to you. And for some of you, it doesn't have to be someone that you were in a relationship. It could be someone who is in a different relationship, but that you just know. Maybe they had been in a love relationship with a Leo, and they could have seen the truth that the person they were in a relationship with was someone who emotionally is attached to repeating their past patterns of the past and doesn't want to see the emotional options of change. You know, they kind of backstab and betray change. And so this person had to go within to gain insight and wisdom about the person they'd been in a relationship with. And they've had to nurture and love themselves and take some bold creative action within themselves to keep believing in their dreams, and they want to give birth to a new life. They have emotionally detached from either a Libra in their life who was kind of selfish and greedy, or thinking it was just and fair to keep holding on to someone in their past. But if that person from their past was someone who also wanted to repeat patterns of the past and wasn't willing to see the emotional possibilities of moving forward, they have emotionally detached from that person to focus on getting the justice they deserve in their life, which is a mutually loving relationship where people are willing to learn and grow and mature and move forward in life. And they could be holding back from what they once thought was just and fair because either they find that person, a Queen of Wands in reverse can be someone who's very emotionally manipulative, very prideful and egotistical, can be vengeful, nasty things like that. And they've learned that they need to have good boundaries against that person. If they were in a relationship with someone who thought it was just and fair to kind of be selfish and greedy, not work well together with others, be unwilling to move forward, doesn't take creative, inspired, passionate action in their life, doesn't listen to their intuition, again, is kind of those nasty things I talked about, they've learned that they need to have good boundaries against that person. And if that was an aspect within themselves that they used to be, they have learned to have good boundaries against that side because they want their dreams to come into reality. They want loving, warm, authentic relationships that are aligned with love and happiness and joy. And they need to have better boundaries against people. No one can tempt us in our shadowy nature to do something that's not loving and loving to other people in our life unless there's a part of ourself that aligns with that. And if we had an aspect of ourself that kind of doesn't temper our more prideful, wanty nature, me, or if we kind of are a little prideful, egotistical, more um, like to be maybe emotionally manipulative in relationships. If anybody had previously been tempted by people in their past who wanted them to work together with them, that they had love for some of them, it could have just been that they needed to learn to have better boundaries within themselves and stand up for themselves and become more independent. Quit being so codependent on these people. We all deserve to live our own unique life. And if there's people in our life who try to manipulate us, want to control us, all these things, that's not love. And when are we, out of self love, going to take bold, confident action to believe in ourselves and our own sense of emotional and financial stability to believe that we can fend on our own? And for some people, they just needed to learn to stand up for themselves. And when they do that, they can align with other people in their life who are bold and brave and open and honest and loving. But before, this person could have moved away from those people because they didn't want to have good boundaries against some other people in their life that might try to manipulate and control them, that they have love for. But if they weren't willing to stand up for themselves and stand their ground and stand up for, I have my own individual life that I deserve to pursue. But if those people are kind of in their Leo nature, that can be people who are competitive, who are prideful and egotistical, we want you to align with us. And if this person knew that, you know, they would have to do this work within themselves and kind of emotionally detach and hold back from some people in their life who, in Leo energy again, are more kind of can be emotionally manipulative and controlling. They have to learn to stand up for themselves and have good boundaries. You know, we need to go within to gain insight and wisdom about what do we think's going to happen. I mean, do we think these people, especially if it's like family members or friends, are they going to say, well, I don't know if I'm going to associate with you anymore? I don't know, blah, blah, blah. You know, well, we've got to decide, are we going to let people that are basically be unloving keep us from having our dreams come into reality? Are you trying to prevent their dreams from coming into reality? Or do you respect them enough to let them live their own life, but yet they think they can interfere in your life? And for other people, they had to have good boundaries against their more either worldly way of living or prideful way of living, me. And they needed to have good boundaries against that nature within themselves, because if they don't have good boundaries within themselves about that and have this a little bit more entitled way of living or more tempted by money or materialism or indulgence, there's all sorts of people that can tempt them in their life. You know, if they lack boundaries within themselves, anybody can come in and tempt them, you know. Most of us have good boundaries within ourselves and say, no, I ain't going to do that, you know. But so I also shuffled before I turned on the camera the Tao Oracle deck, and we got grace, adornment, bring out beauty, elegance, the outer as a reflection of the inner, vanity, charisma, self expression. And the reason that came out, 22, is because of the family, hereditary, blood bonds, kindred spirits, ancestry, home life, community, intimate relationships, our human family, 37. So, if you know some people in your life who you had to become independent from because they're either very codependent on other foundations within their life or just the world at large, so they operate more from pride and ego and materialistically, you, I would say, are extending them grace. You know, because some of those people were a love connection, some of them are, you know, the world can be about indulgence, people wanting to indulge in the world and the things of the world, you know, sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever. um, you know, you can love people and still stay, distance yourself from them. It's like, I hope it works out for you, I wish you peace. But, you know, I'm ready to move forward in my life and be more independent of some of those things. That this person still could be very much a major part of their foundation. And, you know, that's okay. Sometimes we have friends that, you know, live different lifestyles than us. It doesn't mean we don't love them, but we might not hang around them as much. For others of you, it could have been a love connection and they're still, they think someone else is their wish fulfillment. For some of you, for other people, they are codependent on other people in their life for their sense of stability and security, so you became independent of them. And you are believing in your dreams, and if you keep taking steps, listening to your intuition, coming from a place of love, you know, I think your dreams will come into reality. I think some other people right now, either out of fear or insecurity or pride or ego or immaturity or indulgence, are going to get into a new relationship. For some of them, they could have taken a risk to get in one relationship, but then the person they went to go get in a relationship still has patterns of their own to repeat, so that person could have left them. some of them in their shadowy energy were thinking they could come balance things out with you, and that's where you'll have to listen to your intuition because their relationship didn't work out. Some of them might want to come back, and if you know this person is still just creating an illusion that they haven't gone within to gain insight and wisdom, it's just that maybe when they tried to move together in a relationship with someone based maybe more on money and materialism, it they got backstabbed. So now that that ended, now they're thinking it's just and fair maybe for them to try to hold on to you, and hopefully that you'll be in a relationship with them where they can be still defensive to taking a leap of faith. But I think if they're still defensive to love, it will be illuminated that you're happy and you're moving forward, working on a foundation that's moving forward. You're not in your pride and ego or have inner conflict about this person anymore. And if they haven't done all that work within them, you're moving on to go find someone who kind of has freed themselves from the same layers of fear and insecurity that you have, because life is all about shedding our layers of fears and insecurity and self-doubt. And when we meet someone who's maybe on the same page as us at one point, that's why it's nice if people are willing to put in the work and effort, because taking a risk to go get in a relationship with someone else, you could find out that person has their own other levels of fear and insecurity that they haven't released that you have, and this person might have taken a risk to do that, and the person they went to go get in a relationship has their own things that they haven't learned that made them leave the relationship. That's why it really is pretty a gift when you can get in a relationship with someone where you seem to be on the same page, but both people have to be willing to kind of grow, and everybody has to be willing to learn and grow and mature if that foundation is going to move forward. And everyone needs to walk away from ways of being that might be the way they wanted things done, but if our way of wanting to be getting things done isn't being open and honest and loving, and we want to be a little bit more selfish or greedy or have things our way, that ultimately leads to an emotionally unfulfilling relationship. And until we're willing to learn lessons and realize it doesn't work for me to live my life that way, and I'm not going to do it, I want to keep moving forward with this person. And that means I have to gain some insight and wisdom about myself and my fears and why I want things done my way and why they want things done their way. We all want things done our way. That's part of our human nature, but we all have to be willing to work together. And I think someone could have left you, and the person they went towards left them. So if this person hasn't learned lessons and they're just thinking, I want to win at all costs, I'm going to try to heal things with this loving person in my life by making them an offer, and hopefully they'll get in a love relationship with me and hopefully they'll be strong and maybe be in their pride and ego wanting to be in a relationship with me, and they won't keep moving forward in love. That they'll maybe be emotionally confused that I might have backstabbed and betrayed them before. Maybe they haven't went within and gained insight and wisdom and learned how to love themselves. So if anyone comes towards you, make sure there's someone who has healed and is independent. If they're just trying to snow you, I think you'll see through the illusion and you'll move on. And then this person will have to try to go get in a relationship with someone else, because we either put in the work to truly balance out our emotions and our fears and insecurities, or we're just constantly trying to balance out our emotions and maintain our stability without actually doing the inner work. So if anyone comes towards you, make sure they've done the inner work, I guess would be my advice. And the people who want to win at all costs are going to take a risk to get in a relationship where they don't have to self reflect on the truth and tap into their emotions and move forward and take creative action in their life. They're just going to keep living life the way they've done it. I did a random flip of the quote calendar, and you got the two most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. By the famous author Mark Twain, July 8th. And eights in tarot kind of remind me of what goes around. You know, sometimes people think that they can not invest authentically in a relationship and still reap the benefits. So that would be someone who lives in illusion, someone who thinks, oh, I can be defensive. Oh, I can just wear a mask that I'm nurturing and stable and loving, but really be defensive and manipulative and create illusion. To think that that relationship is maybe going to last long term is a fantasy land. You know, if you want to reap the harvest, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have trust in other people. Doesn't mean you rush into relationships right away. You get to know people and find out what their foundation is made of. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, you don't beat yourself up. You know, if people wear social masks, we can't, and they're really good at it, you know, you're not going to know it. It's going to take a long time. And then if you've already gotten in a relationship with them, you know, you keep putting in work and effort to make it work. Eventually, when you see that they don't seem to be putting in the same work and as effort as you, that's when you kind of finally see it, that it's like, oh, it's more about you than us. So there you go, Scorpios. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.